Military declares 8 wanted over Delta killings. Court orders release of 313 suspected terrorists. Ningi demands reinstatement, threatens to drag Senate to court. Last night on the foreign scene, Faye officially declared winner of Senegal's presidential election. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Updates. I am Martia Umar. Thank you for joining. Now news in detail. The military high command on Thursday morning declared 8 persons wanted in connection with the killing of 17 soldiers and officers in Okwama community of Delta State. Among those declared wanted include Professor Ekpekpo Arthur, a woman Igoliebi, Ruben Baru, Akata Malawa, David, and 4 other persons. The Director, Defense Media Operations, Edward Buba, who disclosed this at the press briefing at Defense Headquarters, Abuja, said no bounties placed on the wanted persons. Buba called on the stakeholders and traditional rulers across the country, particularly in the Niger Delta, to help the military in fishing out those who have been declared wanted. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has conferred national honors on the 17 soldiers who were killed on the 14th of March 2024 at Okwama in Delta State. And the president, who also promised justice for their families, instructed the military to pay all benefits to families within 90 days. And Tinubu stated this at the burial ceremony of the army personnel in Abuja. Noah Samson has more in this report.
The bodies of the soldiers arrived at the National Military Cemetery at 2:34 p.m. as family members watched with teary eyes. The president, in a speech, conferred posthumous national awards on the 17 soldiers and announced other benefits such as scholarship and housing for their families. He also urged the Nigerian military not to be discouraged by the incident.
It is now our duty to protect the families of our departed heroes. The federal government will provide housing in any part of our country to each of the families of the 4 officers and 13 soldiers that were among them. The federal government has also approved scholarship to all children of the deceased up to university level, including those who are in the womb. The military will appeal to you to, within the next 90 days, to ensure that all benefits of departed are paid to their families. May the families of departed and all the loved ones find strength to bear the pain of this loss.
The Chief of Defense Staff, Christopher Musa, and the Chief of Army Staff, Tarid Lagbaja, vowed to hunt down the perpetrators of the act, adding that there is no hiding place for them.
To the perpetrators of this violence who seek to sow division and fear among our people, take this from me. Our resolve will not wither. We will hunt you down, we will bring you to justice, and will restore peace and security to every nook and cranny of our dear nation. Your evil actions may cause pain and suffering, but they will never extinguish the spirit of unity and resilience that burns within us. Whoever is supporting them, either directly or indirectly, in every way, rest assured, we will get them, we will smoke them out wherever they are, and those who are offering them any support will face the music. That we guarantee. We will honor your memory by continuing the fight against those who seek to undermine our peace and security. We will remain steadfast in our resolve to build a nation worthy of your sacrifice. This sacrifice will not go in vain. The loss we feel today is immeasurable, but we must not allow it to dim the light of our renewed hope within us. Instead, let us use this moment as a rallying cry to come together as a nation to support our armed forces and to work tirelessly towards a Nigeria free from the grip of violence and insecurity.
It grieves my heart that it took our search and recovery effort over 72 hours to recover some vital organs of the decapitated and disemboweled bodies of my men that were scattered all over the Okwama community by the community youths and their friends. I consider it the most barbaric act any citizen or community can commit against the authority of the state. And I must place on record that a lot of restraints have been exercised so far in our search and recovery efforts for missing arms, ammunition, other equipment, and body parts.
Present at the funeral were the governors of Delta, Bayelsa, Kwara, Imo, and Kogi State, Deputy Senate President, as well as the Speaker, House of Representatives, among other dignitaries.
Present! On the shoulder. Fire! Reload! Stop. Present! Fire!
Noel Samson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
A federal high court in Borno has ordered the release of no fewer than 313 suspected terrorists arrested by the military. The court ordered their release for lack of evidence to nail the suspects after investigation. The Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Buba Edward, disclosed this during the operational briefing on Thursday in Abuja. He said the court ordered the release for want of evidence after the conclusion of investigation and other ancillary matters. They said accordingly they would be handed over to Borno State government for further action. Now into the House, the senator representing Bauchi Central in the Senate, Abdul Ningi, has written to the Senate President Godswill Akpabio demanding that the suspension placed on him be lifted. Ningi, who wrote Akpabio through his lawyer Femi Falana, who is a senior advocate of Nigeria, noted that if his suspension was not lifted in the next 7 days, he would drag the Senate before the Federal High Court. The Senate on March 12 sent Ningi on 3-month suspension over his claim that the 2024 budget was padded to the tune of 3.7 trillion naira. Ningi, in a media interview, claimed that while the budget passed by the National Assembly for the 2024 fiscal year was 25 trillion naira, the one being executed by the President was 28.7 trillion naira. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has disowned Wednesday's Labour Party National Convention in Anambra. The Chief Press Secretary to INEC Chairman Rotimi Oyekomi stated that while speaking with journalists in Abuja on Thursday, Oyekomi stressed that the conduct of the convention was not monitored by INEC. INEC had added that the Labour Party failed to comply with Section 82, subsection 1 of the Electoral Act 2022, which states that political parties shall give INEC at least 21 days notice of convention, congress, conference, or meeting. Now, mixed reactions have trailed President Tinubu's speech order for the implementation of Oresanya report on public sector's reform. Members of civil society in Osun State want President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to tread carefully in implementing the report, particularly the attempt to scrap the Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate, PTAD, Hamid Oyegbade has more in this report.
During the administration of former President Goodluck Jonathan, the Pension Transitional Arrangement Directorate was created to stop corruption in pension administration. In implementing Oransanye's report, federal government may scrap PTAD and put its functions under the Federal Ministry of Finance. But pensioners are afraid that if PTAD is scrapped, there will be a reinstitution of corruption and another round of harsh treatment and more untimely death of pensioners.
We've already decided that we are not in support of scrapping PTAD because immediately they established PTAD, it is as from that period that we've been enjoying. There are no more debts. When we were using the federal government issue, but before now, there are debts, there were frauds, there were all things that are not supposed to be for pensioners. But now, PTAD has arranged everything that we don't have any problem.
Leading members of civil societies in Osun State, Waheed Saka and Waheed Lawal, differ on the subject matter.
You know, there are crises around the pension and pension law, and that was the reason why the Goodluck Jonathan administration created a department, a directorate to deal with the arrangement of pension and stuff like that. And now, if we now merge it to Ministry of Finance, considering the voluminous and the controversy around the corruption-related activities in the Ministry of Finance, you want to set the pensioner back to another decades of corrupt practices. That is not acceptable.
Duplicating agency is part of the problem we're having in this country. If the Oransanye's report recommend that some agencies should be subsumed into federal ministry, so be it. Agencies like Pension Transition Arrangement Directorate, they will be well taken care of at the Federal Ministry of Finance.
Whatever decision follows the implementation of the report, all Nigerians want is that government policies should better the lives of citizens, not the other way round. Hamid Oyegbade, Trust TV News, Osogbo.
And away from Osogbo, the capital of Osun State, the National Association of Telecommunications Subscribers has requested that the Nigerian Communication Commission extend the deadline scheduled for disconnection of telephone lines not linked to national identification number beyond Friday, March 29, 2024. The subscribers' body argued that telco agents were failing to capture all necessary information needed for verification, just as it also cited difficulties in uploading the captured data on the National Identity Management Commission's server. The president of NATCOMS, Adeolu Ogubajo, said on Wednesday that NCC needed to order telcos not to disconnect phone lines, considering the ongoing difficulties faced by subscribers. The telecom regulator had insisted that there would be no changes to the deadline for the next phase of disconnection. Now, following the decision by the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACON, to increase the 2024 Hajj fare by 1.9 million naira, some intending pilgrims in Jos, the Plateau State capital, are asking the State Muslim Welfare Board to refund their initial deposits. NACON had on March 24 announced an increase in Hajj fare, a development that did not go down well with many of the intending pilgrims in Jos. Ado Musa completes the report.
Soon after the announcement of the increase, intending pilgrims in Plateau State have been complaining about the development, calling for the refund of their deposits. According to them, after being told that they had finally paid for the travel, they were later informed that they will pay additional money, lamenting that they don't know where to source for the additional sum, which is close to 2 million naira. We are not happy with the increment. We woke up and heard that the Hajj fare has been increased to 6.8 million naira. We were asked to pay a certain amount of money before, which we have paid. Why are they telling us another story? I don't have money to complete it. I want my money back.
Ko dai da muka ji wannan abun gaskiya abu bai mana daɗi ba. Duk wani musulmi
and eat. The day we heard about it, even when people were asked to pay 4.6 million naira, many could not afford it. Now we are being asked to pay an additional 1.9 million naira. This increment will prevent many of us from going for the Hajj.
Ina kira ga alhazai a ɗauki wannan shawara.
Where does the government want us to source this money from? We are not just keeping money in our houses. Look at the time frame. This is not possible. When we were asked to add additional money, we did it. A lot of people sold their properties at a loss. Now there is another story. Let them refund my money. We are not going.
Wannan ni ban ji daɗin wannan ƙarin da aka yi ba. Ƙarin yayi yawa sosai.
The increment is too much. Earlier they asked us to pay an additional amount. Now they are asking again. They should refund my money if they are not accepting the initial amount. Some of the intending pilgrims say, despite the new development, they are still calling on the government to think and reverse the decision.
Muna da kira da gwamnati da hukumar nakon ta dubi wannan al'amari.
We are pleading with the government to subsidize the fare for us, since we have already paid the initial agreed amount. Government should do something about it. If government cannot do anything, they should refund my deposit.
In kira ga gwamnatin tarayya.
I am calling on the government to do something because people cannot afford it. The government should look at the current economic hardship in the country and reverse its decision. Since after the announcement of the increase, people across Nigeria have continued to lament the situation, calling on NACOM to either allow them travel at the earlier amount or refund them. Adon Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
You're still watching the news update on Trust Television. We'll go for a break now. When we return, we will look at this story. How stray bullets killed 15-year-old boy in Katsina. Details of that story and more when we return. Stay with us. You're welcome back. If you're just joining, this is news update on Trust Television. Let's take a look at our major stories again. We told you earlier that military declares 8 wanted over murder of soldiers. And the court ordered release of 313 suspected terrorists to Borno government. And now moving on to more news. The need to address internal challenges facing power supply, healthcare, effective transportation system, and other utilities that improve business competitiveness has been identified as key to curbing brain drain in Nigeria. At an annual lecture in Asaba on the topic Flight of Talent, Navigating Nigeria's Brain Drain Predicament, resource persons from different sectors of the economy said one of the consequences of brain drain in the country is the depletion of human capital, which is essential to nations' development. They sued for strengthening of institutions in the country and good governance to attract Nigerians outside the country to return home. The report.
In summary, the consequences is depleting the human manpower. So we need to really go through the roots of it and see what we can do to curb it. Really, a lot of our skilled manpower, they are really fleeing, and the rate at which they are moving to other countries is really alarming.
So it's about leadership. It's about leadership. We've had good leadership that meant well for us. The leadership will be struggling every day to ensure that our currency, our naira, remains valuable.
Once there's power, you can see people do some minor industries can come up, people can earn livings from there, and then this issue of running away will reduce. It will reduce. So they should develop structures that can make people learn here in Nigeria, stay here in Nigeria, and their learning or their years in education or whatever talent they have is appreciated and will grow our economy.
Now, the parents of a young man killed by a stray bullet allegedly fired by military personnel in the Asian city of Katsina recently are demanding for justice. The incident involving the 15-year-old Abdusalam Umar happened last Saturday following a clash between some military personnel and a group of youth in the city. Abdullahi Yamadi tells us more.
Disagreement between the soldiers and a horse rider ignited the clash. Residents alleged that the soldiers went back to their barracks and mobilized their colleagues to the area and started beating people and shooting randomly, leaving many residents with various degrees of injuries. Already, the remains of Abdusalam Umar has been laid to rest at Old Dantakum Cemetery in Katsina Metropolis amid sorrow and tears by family and friends of the deceased. Father of the deceased, 75-year-old Umar Lawal, is appealing to the authorities concerned to bring to justice the soldiers that killed his 15-year-old son, Abdusalam Umar, who is an SS2 student of Katsina College. Umar Lawal, who was emotionally disturbed following the tragic incident, narrates how he received the news of the event few minutes after Abdusalam left him at home for an errand. My son, Abdurrahman, came to me with some requests that fateful night, which I gave him some money, and he left. A few minutes after, I was told that he was shot dead. To all those who can support me, kindly tell them to do me a favor. I'm demanding justice for Abdurrahman. Simple. However, the senator representing Katsina Central Senatorial District, Abdulaziz Yaradua, promised to follow the matter to its logical conclusion.
We came here to condole with the family of a boy of 12 years old that I just learned about yesterday that was killed here by security operatives. Right now we cannot determine the security operatives that came here, to shoot indiscriminately, thereby, killing the small boy and injuring another person who is lucky to be alive.
Other family members also vowed to follow up the matter to its logical conclusion because the late Abdusalam was not by the roadside and also was not among the youth that clashed with the soldiers. This young man was lucky to have escaped death by one of the stray bullets which penetrates his shop, leaving some traces. Some human rights groups, angered by the incident, lamented over the frequency of attacks on civilians by armed uniformed men, especially around Kofar Guga area of Katsina Metropolis.
It is part of the soldiers' culture. When they come to the civilian, they just keep a behavior like, I don't know how to call them, but...
Observers say it is advisable for the military to concentrate on the current war against banditry and other crimes, other than engaging unarmed civilians into clashes, leading to frequent loss of lives and property. Abdullahi Yamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Now on the foreign scene, following the conclusion of the collation of votes, Diomaye Faye has officially been declared winner of the presidential election in Senegal, winning 54.28% of votes in the first round. report from the country's vote counting commission, which falls under the judiciary, stated that Faye placed well ahead of the governing coalition's candidate and former Prime Minister Amadou Ba, who had 35.79% of the vote. The victory for Faye, who was only freed from prison 10 days before the election, still has to be validated by Senegal's top constitutional body, which could happen in a few days. And that brings us to the end of the news update at this hour. For more news, programming and documentaries, remember to stream live on our YouTube channel and follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Martia Umar. On behalf of the news crew, thank you for watching and stay tuned.